Hey everyone, I am so sick of the snow, which means only one thing. It's time to plant some seeds. So even though it is January, February, now is the time for some of those veggies, herbs that take a really long time, like onions or hot peppers, to get started now so you can transplant them out. So I'm going to show you what ones I'm going to be starting. These are not all the seeds I will be growing, but the ones that I want to start indoors. Okay, so this is everything I plan on starting indoors. Not all in one container, but we're gonna start today, maybe tomorrow, plant some more, etc., etc. I am avoiding things like my beans that are in here that quickly grow, or things like carrots that don't like to be transplanted. Think about it if you're moving, right? You finally get nice and settled, you're cozy, then you move, and maybe that first time it's exciting, but then the third time you're kind of annoyed, and by the fourth time you don't want to. So think of that for your carrots, your beets, your root veggies, things that don't want to move. But things like peppers, they're okay. They can even take a beating. These ones are the ones I overwintered. They're looking a little sad, but I think we'll be okay. So now that we've established what we want to start, we're going to get our soil mix, some water, and our trays. Okay, now that I have my super fancy setup going, all this is one of those seed cell starters. I think I got this one for $5 at Dollar General, and I cut up the sections. So this cell of 9 will be one plant. I have some potting mix. This is from Jiffy. It says it's natural, fancy, blah, blah, blah. It's what I could find. I personally don't think it makes a difference. If you use seed starting mix or potting mix, etc., I don't think it makes that big of a deal when you're starting seeds. Now, you don't want to use in-grounder. I think that does make a difference, but if you're going to make it from scratch with coconut coir and all that, you do what works best for you. All I'm going to do, RIP, the cleanest my nails will look all year, is just pull some of this dirt into a little bowl. I'm going to pour in some water to pre-moisten it, and then that's it. I'm going to drop my seeds in. The texture you're looking for is like wet sand, so I can pick it up, squish it, and it holds its shape, but it's not dripping water if I squeeze it. And then, like I said, all we're doing, plop, filling in the holes. Now you can go one section at a time, you can fill up the whole thing, whatever you want. I'm going to fill up this whole thing first because I have a lot of things that I'm starting today. Also, so your seeds have room to grow because they're going to be very fragile in this state. You don't want to push down on your soil so it's tightly packed. All I'm doing is taking a little bit, like a handful, and then sprinkling it and maybe pushing it to side so that the space fills up. But I'm not pushing down. I want this to be loose and airy so that my seedlings, since they're going to be tiny little roots, are able to push through that dirt and get a nice solid base before they get transplanted outside. Okay, so all I did is take a single cell out or section because this are the onions that I'm going to start. If you want to grow more than this, you can have multiple. If you want a whole tray, you do what works best for you. I like a wide variety of things in my garden, so I'm going to have probably something in each of these, maybe 2 for peppers, but we'll get there. So I labeled it, and then I'm going to do 1 or 2 at most seeds per section here. And I'm going to take my very official screwdriver and just create a little divot, just a tiny little hole. We don't need it to be buried at the very end, just a tiny little hole. I see how tiny these are, but we're just going to take 1 or 2 per section and then just cover them up. And we're done, and we can go on to the next. So how do you know what to start inside and whatnot? Well, the first thing you look at is how many days till harvest. This has 80 days, and that's going to be like 80 days above freezing, consistently warm temperatures. And at the back, it will normally give you like when should I start planting, as well as some instructions. And this has 6 to 8 weeks before last frost. We're transplanting, so we're going to start ours March, May. I like to do these a little bit earlier, just to account for some error or if I need to restart at a later date. So that's what I'm going by. Again, no, and being able to read where you are generally is going to give you a good idea on when to start. So we're just going to continue on until we're done. So I did sprinkle a little bit of dry soil just on top so everything sits well. We're going to put a lid on it, put it on the heat mat, and we're done. We do not need light at this stage. Most seeds, I don't know any that do technically require light to germinate. They need heat and water. So I am going to come down here daily and spray these. That way the soil doesn't completely dry up, but otherwise we are done. 2025 growing season has begun. So thanks everyone for following along. I'll keep you updated and I'll talk to you later. Bye.